Hi, in today's video, we are going to discuss about the code management when we are connecting with GitHub from Jira. Because as we all know, whenever we are working on agile environment, as part of project planning, tracking, bug tracking, etc. So we use Jira, one of the tool, while we update the timelines, especially when we create any epics and user stories based on the user stories which was written by the team, by the product owner or somebody. So for that particular functionality, there must be some code written by the development team. So when a development team wants to write code for any of the project, it's always important for us to connect with different applications. Because Jira, as I stated, it's all about project management come bug tracking. Now you require different tools, something like Bitbucket, GitHub, right? So these are the different tools which are used as a repository for source code management. In regard to that, we can connect Jira with GitHub, wherein whatever the source code management, everything can be done over here. This is what something which normally we need to do. So when you want to connect to the GitHub from the Jira, so wherein we have to check the application configuration, whatever is required for us to do it. At the same time, whenever we are doing this, it's always important for us to edit the repositories first, right? So that's all something which is required. So here you can see there is an option for edit repositories wherein we have to edit the repositories. In this editing of repositories and all, whatever the kind of tools which are essentially required, or else if you want to add any kind of code repositories as in when, as I mentioned you, because there are different phases will be there for the project, right? Either it can be a planning phase, it can be a build phase, it can be a testing phase, deployment and operations, etc. All that. In regard to this, it's always important for us to add multiple code repositories, whatever the code repositories we have in context to that. Repositories we have three majorly. One is about the Bitbucket, which is a common repository used for source code management. At the same time, we use even a GitHub also. GitHub is also one of the code repository widely we used across industries when we are working on. At the same time, one more is called Gitlab, right? So Gitlab is also one of the source code repository where we can maintain the source codes, etc. So we have to select whatever the repository is required so that this is where generally we have authenticated, where we have used GitHub as a repository. This is all something which we can do it. At the same time, if you want to manage any kind of other tools in context to the configuration, for example, if you want to connect to Azure Devops, because normally when we are working on the application development, nowadays most of the teams are DevOps teams. That's how the transformation has taken place. Means both implementation as well as operations has to be done on the same platform using different tools like Jenkins, Kubernetes, Ansible, Negois, etc. So one of the prominent tool which normally we use is called Azure DevOps. This is something which normally we can use. So here you can see Azure DevOps for Jira. This is what something which we can use it. Of course, this is a free tool which can be used for training purpose and all everything. So wherein installation of Azure DevOps with Jira is what something which can be connected with, right? Here you can see. Now, if you want to make any kind of configuration in regard to that, here you can see there is an option for configure app. Because normally Jira administration, these kind of people is what something which are majorly used for the configurations. Means if you want to make any kind of configurations, this Jira administrators and all everybody will be doing this. So we need to connect to the Azure DevOps to Jira, wherein accessing the Azure DevOps organization on Microsoft account, etc. Right. So where we have to ensure and we need to log on to the Azure this thing, because Microsoft Azure official platform is what something which we have to be used with, wherein whatever the kind of code we wants to manage in the DevOps environment, or else if you want to build any kind of iterations or artifacts, or else if there is any kind of releases, whatever we were planning to do, or else if there is any kind of notifications and all everything. So all these things using this Azure DevOps for Jira is what something, right? So once we have denied, automatically we can connect to Azure DevOps and Jira so that this can be used accordingly. This is one thing which normally we can do. This one of its kind, it's something which normally we can do, right? So this is point number one. At the same time, when it comes to the source code management, as we discussed in it, because we have to add this GitHub for the project, which is normally add to the project. This is where you can see GitHub for GitHub for Jira is what something wherein we are adding this to the project. So that source code management can be done accordingly, right? So we have added to the project. So whatever the project or whatever the code are we going to write for existing application we are managing, source code management can be done using this GitHub platform. Whatever the source code we are writing for the project. So everything will be managed there so that whatever the activity, whatever the work was done by the team, everything can be coordinated, everything to be managed here. This is what and how usually this GitHub for Jira is what something which is majorly useful when we are working on the Jira integration part from the GitHub point of view, Jira integrations point of view, by providing some authorizations, etc. All these things is what something required for any admin team as well as the technical team, one should be knowing. This is something especially useful for the people who are working on the Agile Scrum environment when we are working on Jira operations team. At the same time, this is something useful even for admin people as well. This is all about this video. If you have any questions, if you have any queries, please reach out to the contact details, which will be provided in below to this video. Thank you.